Hi, you join me today on the Grand Union Canal, one of my favourite stretches, Evanspound in Watford. We're going to try and catch some quality roach on punch, and if we're lucky, a bonus chub or two on the long pole with chop worm. Yeah, so the baits for the session are liquidised bread, got a bit of 4mm gravel in it. We've got casters, dendrobina worms, and lobworms. A few lobworms use as hook bait and chop a few up as well. Got some hemp, got some bronze maggot and pinky as a backup, but they're the main baits. I'm going to start on bread down the middle, and I'm going to have a big fish line across. And I think the fishing is going to be quite difficult because the water is freezing. I've been a bit sort of taken aback by how cold it is. So we're going to take it easy, small ball of liquidised bread, go straight on it, hopefully catch a few stampy roach. Right, so I've only put a small ball of liquidised in because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And to be honest, I've had quite a good start here. I've just lost the skimmer, which is a bit unlucky. And I'm getting an odd stampy roach. That's the best one so far. I'm fishing a couple of inches off bottom. As you can see, we're in autumn now, the leaves are coming down. The water's cold, surprisingly cold actually. I was a bit worried if we were going to catch much, but at the moment it seems like there's a few fish here because punch is an instant bait, as most people know. And normally the better stamped fish that you're going to catch, you catch straight away. It's just an instant bait. I think it's the colour. The fish just seem to home into it quickly. And there's some real quality fish in here, like this one. That's a skimmer, I reckon. Beautiful. There is a nice colour in the water, which I'm surprised about because it's fed by the river. You know, it's a normal canal, but it's got the river going in and out of it. The river's got a little bit of colour in it, but we haven't really had any rain as far as I know. Obviously, we've had a few boats already. Yeah, skimmer. Oh no, it's a big roach. Look at that. Yeah. Look at that. That's a good fish for the canal. Beautiful. So going through the rig for the punch fishing, got a number 4 elastic, pressed and slip through the whole top kit, like I mentioned. I've got 012 main line. In the depths of winter, I use 010, but this is Hydra Prestige. It's a pre-stretched line, so it's an accurate line, and it's not going to stretch while you're fishing. The float is a Sci-Wi carbon squat, carbon tip, which is sensitive, but sort of hard to describe. It's like stable. It's quite good in visibility because it's 1.2mm, but despite the diameter, it is quite sensitive as well. Nice slim body, a thin wire, which I think got the advantages of wire in terms of stability, but because it's thin, it follows the shot, tends not to wrap over, which is really important when you're catching a lot of small fish, especially on the drains. And it's because it's a very fine wire, Hydra have bought out for me a very fine silicone, 0.3mm, which comes in a metre blister, or you can get it in this container, this dispenser with 4 different sizes. It's nice and soft, really, really fine. So if you use fine stem floats, that's you know, ideal. Shotting pattern, Buller Benny shot for a start, number 10s. 2 number 10s and then a bulk of 10s with a little style trimming shot above it in case I need to adjust the amount of float sticking out. And from my loop to my bulk, 25 centimetres I'd say that is roughly. Very simple, just going to, you know, bomb the bait down, get it over the patch of punch that's on the bottom. The fish are going to be either on the bottom or just off the bottom. There's no need for a strung out shotting pattern, so that's nice and simple. Hook length, got 5-inch, which is 12.5 centimetres hook length, which is a good length as having, you know, so you've got to think about where your last dropper is going to be in relation to the hook. So punch is like an inert bait. You're going to be fishing near the bottom. You just want to get it down and be able to read the bite quickly. So 5 inches is a good length. I've used an IM80 Hydra hook, 18 to 08. So these, you can tie them yourself. You can buy the line, the Nature fluorocarbon. You can buy the hooks on your own, but you can buy them pre-tied. Like I say, fluorocarbon, which is quite sort of important. Well, a lot of people like that for roach fishing, and there's not many hooks on the market tied to it. So you've got 5 inches on a card. One little tip is you can keep them like that in your box. If you do, try and keep them in the plastic sleeve when you're not using them. Or even better is take them off the card at home and put them in the hook length box. That way they're safe. You know, you're not going to pull 2 off the card at the same time, and you can just top your hook length boxes up that way. So that's the first boat of the day. We'll have to see what happens now. As you can see, she went through nice and slowly in a straight line and hasn't made really hardly any disturbance. So I'm hoping I might just carry on catching. It has kicked up a bit of sediment. We'll see what happens here. But if I don't get a bite in the next once the silt settled down, I'll refeed it. I don't like feeding while all the silt's kicked up off the bottom. I'd rather wait until it has settled down a bit. With punch, if I was feeding ground bait, I wouldn't mind too much because the ground bait's active and I think the fish get drawn in by the activity of it breaking up. But punch is an inert bait and I don't really want a load of silt sort of depositing on top of it after I've put it in. I'll have to see, I'll probably have to refeed. So I've fed liquidised bread and I've actually got 2, what I've brought with me is some liquidised, just normal bread, liquidised a couple of times, put through a pinky riddle, nothing dramatic. And then I brought some white crumb, spotted fin. Oh, there's a bite, look. Shows you there's still some bait there, it's a small fish. So spotted fin have a white crumb, a pure white crumb, which is good quality. So I use that quite often as well. But I think when the fishing's difficult, and especially if there's a chance of quality fish, like skimmers especially, I prefer liquidised. If there's going to be a lot of fish, and they're going to be, the majority are going to be roach, white crumb is more versatile as you can throw in little balls of it rock hard, you can cup it in a bit softer. It's more like what I consider going towards a ground bait. Like roach ground baits contain white crumb for a start. So you've got 2 choices. You could mix them together. Some places you can do 50-50 liquidised and white crumb. There's a fish. So the fish are still there, as you can see, because that boat went through nice and slowly, and it wasn't a big boat either. It hasn't messed the fishing up. So when you're looking at white crumbs or punch crumbs, there's quite there's a few different ones available, and a few of them are, how can I put it, sort of not quite what you'd want. What you want to find is a white bread that's got, when you look at it, it's not just pure white with no, lost my bread punch. And the advantages of using punch crumb or white crumb is you can make it stickier. You can, it's a bit more versatile, so you can put it in loose. You can, if you wanted to go somewhere and throw in little balls regularly because you were on for catching like a couple hundred fish, it's good. But if the fishing, if you're not sure what's going to happen and you think you're going to catch some quality fish, I'll err towards liquidised. You can also mix the two together. So if you want, you can do, that's popular sometimes on the drains. I've done it myself. 50-50 liquidised and white crumb is a good combination, best of both worlds. So it's not rocket science, but it's something to think about. But like I say, if you get a good white crumb, you can mix it up real easy. Now fish have gone small here, so I'm going to top it up in a minute. Let's come off, the bread's still on. And bread for the hook is like everybody uses really. I think Warburton's in the blue sort of papery packet, and it's just, people roll it, people steam it, but if you get a nice fresh loaf, you don't need to do anything to it. I've just cut it into halves, put it in a grip seal bag, and I think I've got 4 slices there. That's enough for a day. And when I bought it this morning, they'd only just received it in the shop, and you just got to have a look at it before you go fishing. So I got it out of the bag. You could see it's really fresh. It was, if I squeezed the slice, it was just slightly sticky, so I knew I didn't actually need to do anything to it. I just literally put it in the bag, squeeze the air out, seal the bag up after I take half a slice out, and that's fine. If I want to compress it down a bit more, if I've got a problem with it coming off the hook, which I haven't had, basically I'll get a slice out, I'll just sit on it for a minute or two, and that will squash it down. But hand on heart, you want the bread on your hook to be nice and fluffy and as soft as possible without it coming off every time you ship in and out. Because when the fish take it, they suck it in, and it's like, you know, it's like fishing an expander pellet instead of a hard pellet. It's the fish just accept it more easily. So if you get your bread, you can see it's not even come off then. So it's, you know, I haven't done anything to it, and that's on the same old deep punch. So yeah, if you buy your bread and it's a bit dry and you can't get any more, you can hold it over the steam from a kettle for a minute without burning your fingers if possible. You can put it in a bag, put it in the microwave for 10 or 20 seconds. But I think the best is just to get the fresh bread, and even if you have to go to a couple of different shops and get it and have a look at it, the worst thing you can do is try and buy it on the way to the match. We've all done it, I've done it myself. Go in the garage, get yourself a loaf of bread, get to your peg, open it up, it's all dry, stale, horrible. And you have a nightmare of a day, especially if you're fishing across. So, simple bait to prepare, a few little things just to make sure they're right. Little fish. Right, I'm going to put another ball of punch in. Okay, so I've topped up my punch line for the first time, and just going to have a look on this worm line if I can get it between the leaves. Afternoon.
What did you catch?
A few roach.
How big?
Yeah, sort of from that to that. Yeah, nice though.
Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. So, yeah, so I've topped my punch line up for the first time, hoping some fish will come back onto it. I think they will. And going over on this worm for the first time, I put about I didn't go mad again. I think this is a line I'm probably going to have to build up. And I'll put about a quarter of a pot in, mixed lobworms and dendras, not chopped up too finely because it is flowing a little bit. so I don't want the bait to spread everywhere. I don't want to put a bait dropper in. And we'll just see if anything's there, but it's very hit and miss on here, fishing for big fish. There's days when they feed and there's days when they just don't. So really I'm just having a little quick look while that bread breaks up. And on here, this rig, oh, that went under then. This rig, I've got 018 direct, a 14, well, it's a camisane animal hook, one of my favourite hooks for big fish. I've got a hollow elastic just through the number 1 section, set soft, so I don't want to bump the fish when I, that's an indication. Oh, felt something then. I think there are little chublets and dace and little perch in here, so I think that's what I'm getting indications of, to be honest. But yeah, so I've got the elastic just set through the number 1, quite soft. So I don't want it like, so I can't pull it out, but I want it that it will power up quickly. Really standard big fish canal setup. You know, if I hook a chub, I'm going to have to just, like that, ship the pole back. Was that a chub or a perch? I'd say it's a chub. All right, that's handy. This is where you are at risk of a cyclist or somebody coming down the towpath, as you have to take evasive action. But yeah, it's a chub. Hey, a little one, not a big one, but there's all sorts in here, all sorts of sizes. There you go. Hey, little puppy chub. That's a little one for down here, but look at that, lovely fresh fish. That's a bonus. We'll have another look. So the big fish rig, I've got a 2.3mm hollow elastic just through the number 1. So when I hook a big fish, it's set soft, so I don't bump a fish, but I can pull it back and hopefully pull the fish away from the snags. Got 018 main line, straight through. We've got the Hydra CPS float, which is very strong. Shotting pattern is just literally 3 shot, 2 9s and a 10. Then I've got a 14 camisane animal hook, and I'll be fishing a chunk of lobworm or dendrobina on that, and hoping to hook something decent. So filled it in with worms under the tree twice, and been firing some big pouches of casters and hemp over there because it's late on in the session now, so we're sort of committed to trying to catch a big fish, and we've hooked one, hoping it's a chub. We've had a few goes over there. Here's a chub. Beautiful. The short elastic but set soft got him away from the snags. I could put the pressure on dead quick. He came down the middle. Now it's just a case of taking it easy. Make sure he doesn't go under the keep. Oh, it's a bloody pike. Can you believe it? No. It's a bloody pike. There's one for the bloopers, isn't there? The outtakes. Jesus. chances of that? Dirty pike. It's because you're here, isn't it? So this length, this pound, like I mentioned in the intro, is called Evanspound. And it's a bit of a jewel in the crown, really, historically, for the Grand Union Canal. It's owned, the fishing lease is owned by Watford Piscators, the local club, and it's shared with Verulam Angling Club, which is based in St Albans. I'm a member of Verulam, and there's no day tickets on this bit. You have to be a member of either club to fish it. The lengths downstream, if you like, of here, a day ticket. And I used to fish here when I started fishing. I fished for Watford Piscators Winter League team, and we had club matches on here. And the length, the bit of canal above here is called Lady Capel's, which is by the Grove golf club and hotel where the England football team stay when they play at Wembley. And that length was a real famous match venue back when I was sort of late teens, early 20s. And there was regular 120 peg matches on there, winter leagues, and real mixture of fishing. Again, up there it flows like it's flowing here due to the river gauge coming in and out of it in various places. And it was often one with bags of chub, sometimes bream in the wides, quality roach in areas, sometimes not a lot in other areas, but a lot of people my age or a little bit older will know the name Lady Capel's and know this area because it was a real hub of match fishing. There was matches, club matches on here, an odd open, an odd winter league, an odd team match, and all the way down from here you got Croxley, then it goes on to Rickmansworth, right down to Denham. There were regular matches. There was a lot of, they were really the only matches around here. Apart from an odd match on an odd lake, it was all canal fishing. And to be fair, now the only people you see fishing down here are lure anglers. You get, an odd sort of club member fishing, but it's not fished anything like it used to be. That's just the popularity of commercials. But there's some real quality fish, and you can see it's a beautiful bit of canal. To come down here on your own, you can really enjoy yourself. And there are some surprises in here. There's some big fish, all sorts. I've had barbel out of here. But like I say, you've got to be a member of Watford Piscators or Verulam to fish on this particular bit between these two locks. So here's our catch from today, a few hours. Done a bit of filming, so we haven't been fishing all the time. Caught a little bomber chub. Was hoping for a couple more, but we just got the one. Some nice quality roach. Skimmers are fed today. Had a handful of fish like this, welcome bonus. And plenty of bites, all nice fish. Don't know what sort of weights there, £10. I would say £10, so great day's pleasure fishing.